Hey, what up, everybody? Tip the cup to you. Thank you, everybody, for enjoying part one of my Bound for Glory video that I made yesterday. I was all fired up to make it all in one shot, but somewhere along the way, iMovie just sort of quit out in the middle of my Hernandez story. So we'll just sort of pick it up from there, and maybe at the end I can just glue them together. But basically, we were in the elevator going up after we bought the beer with Hernandez, and when the ninth floor, the floor that he was staying on, went ding. He sort of got off, and we were like gonna say our goodbyes. And as he stepped off, he just sort of looked at us and he said, "Y'all coming?" And I just remember I'll always remember the look that Mario just gave me, like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're going." And we just went in there. Hernandez was on his bed. I sort of sat on the corner of the bed. His buddy was sitting on the couch, and Mario and the other guys just sort of moved around the room. And everybody drank. We had a good time. We shot the shit about a whole bunch of stupid stuff. Mario was talking to him about opening up some sort of taco truck business, and we did get into some TNA wrestling questions about Hogan and the going on the road and wrestling in the electrified cage match, a whole bunch of stories like that I'll never forget. I mean, it was way awesome. We were in there for probably about an hour before, like, we sort of as a group had felt that we'd stayed there too long, and we went back to our room. It was way cool. It was really, really awesome. I mean, that's one part of the story that really made the trip. And that's something that we'll never really ever forget ever again. I mean, it was basically like being live in a room for a shoot interview, like that you watch from High Spots or from RF Video. It was just way cool. We went to bed that night, honestly, pretty easy. I went up and just sort of laid down in bed. And next thing I knew, I woke up, and it was the next morning. This was now Sunday, the day of the pay-per-view. We honestly got to sleep in a little late. When I woke up, Mario was already in the shower. It was around 8:30ish, somewhere around there. It was the latest we'd slept all week, and we just sort of got ready to go down for the Sunday morning breakfast. The Sunday morning breakfast, we honestly weren't really expecting that much. Honestly, at this point on Sunday, I can easily say that, we were sick of meeting wrestlers. I mean, like, it was beyond the point of we had met everybody on the whole roster. I didn't even want to bring my stuff with me. Basically, I'd kept everything in my backpack with me, so no matter who I met along the way in the hotel or around the hotel or at the pool, I'd always have something on me. Because I brought a lot of DVD covers and I brought a lot of stuff. If you're wondering why I'm not showing the stuff that I got signed on the trip, I'm going to make another video. Probably when I get home tonight, I'll clear off my desk and I will shoot all that stuff and upload that up so you guys can check that out. Because I got a lot of cool stuff signed. It was really, really cool. I mean, out of the whole weekend, the only thing that I didn't get signed was a cover slip from Christopher Daniels for the Destination X, like, 2005 show, and I had it in my bag when I met him at the breakfast. He was somehow, I knew I was gonna get him. Him and Kaz, two of the most entertaining guys on the whole thing. It ended up being we go to the breakfast, and when we get there, oh, wait a minute, I forgot. When we went downstairs, it was probably about 9 o'clock. The breakfast didn't start till 10, so we were just sort of chilling. I was talking to these guys from England. I really liked these guys, and I just really wanted to pick their brain on why they really wanted to come to San Diego to see TNA wrestling. All the people that came from out of the country. If you fly in the country, if you fly like all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, it's gonna cost you like $600. If you really put it up there, I think that maybe it might be worth it. In my mind, I don't think I would fly to the other end of the country for a TNA show, but these guys flew from out of the country, and I just really wanted to pick their brain on really why they wanted to do it, and I talked to them for a good while. Mario was sitting there with us, and he just got tired of holding his poster. He brought his Jeff Hardy Bound for Glory poster, one of these, and he had got it signed by a whole bunch of people, and I was trying to complete it, but he just got tired of holding it. So he made up in his mind that he was going to go back to the room and put it down because he didn't want to carry it around all day. And I swear to you, he walked to the other end of the lobby, pressed the elevator button. I saw him get on, and as soon as the doors closed, I saw a figure come walking out of the sort of the shadows towards us, and it was Kurt Angle. And I really didn't want to lose my shit because I think when I saw Kurt Angle and he was checking into the hotel, I think that I was moving so fast that I got so many people's attention of why I was moving like this, that I was the reason why security sort of put the lockdown on Angle and nobody was able to get close to him. I was lucky enough to get my book signed that day, but this day, honestly, I just really wanted a picture. Honestly, when it all comes down to it, I think I care more about the pictures with the wrestlers than I do about the autographs at the end of the day. So I just sort of walked up to him. I don't think even the guys that I was talking to really knew where I was going or what I was doing. Just walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Kurt, I know you're leaving for your big match, but you got time for just one picture?" And he said, "Yeah, I got time." So I just took the quick selfie pic, which is always the best thing because you're not trying to draw a whole bunch of attention to you. And honestly, I just moved out of the way because I wanted the two guys from England that were down there as well to be able to get their shot. They both were able to get theirs in, and I think that was all the pictures that he took that day. He just sort of moved out the door and he was gone off to the show. We saw Derek Bateman come down EC3. It was the first time seeing him for the day. He took off in a cab. I wasn't able to catch him, but I did try. And then we moved over to the breakfast. We went in there, and when we walked into the breakfast, there weren't that many people that were staying at the hotel for the package. Like I guess there was probably 50 to 60 different people having the whole package. And when we got there, we were one of the earlier ones. But when we walked in, Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky were sitting at one table, and they were already eating. And there wasn't that many fans in there, but it was kind of a weird setting with a whole bunch of round tables, and people didn't really want to go directly up to that table. Somewhere along the way, as fans came in, I remember there was one fan who actually sat behind me at Bound for Glory wearing a blue Magnus shirt. He had the balls. He walked up and he sat at the table, breaking the streak, and sat there and he talked to Sabin, he talked to Velvet. I mean, that's the reason why they were there. More people should have done it. I sort of sat at a table that I had more friends with from the week, just shooting the shit. As we were in there, more fans piled in, and not many people went up to the one table. Daniels and Kaz came in. They came and they got their breakfast, of course. They were loud. They wanted to make everybody know that they were there. They were sort of shooting on the breakfast. They were doing it in fun. They were talking about this better be turkey bacon, and he wanted steel cut oatmeal, and jokes about the coffee and the cream and all sorts of shit like that. I mean, like those guys were awesome. They were on 24/7. Where if you saw them checking in the hotel, didn't really see those guys in the bar, but the meet and greet breakfast. They were just like they would be if they were doing a show on TV. It was awesome to be around those guys. Of course, they insulted me. They insulted my laugh again. It was good times all around. The one guy in the blue Magnus shirt got lucky because when they came in, they walked over and they sat down at that table. So it ended up being them four and one fan, and everybody's looking like, "Oh fuck, that dude's got balls of steel. He got the best seat in the house." Shortly after that, Bobby Roode came down, and that was sort of like a weird thing because he had this sort of look on his face of like, "Don't fuck with me. I'm only here because they told me to be here." But Rude was cool. He warmed up to people. It was just like I talked about when you're doing the fan interaction. If you walked up to Rude and you treated him with respect and you talked to him, he talked to you. He gave you a good answer. And he was an all-around good guy. Took pictures with everybody and everything like that. There was one TNA person who came in and told them to get up and sort of move around the room. Because they were all sitting at one table and make sure everybody, got the attention that they needed, and everybody knew that, that they were glad that everybody was there. TJ Perkins came down, manic. He wasn't wearing the mask because I don't think he'd be able to eat the bacon through it or anything like that. But as he was sitting there, he sat down at a table full of fans, and I talked to them. And as I was talking to him, I said that I wish that we would have been able to go to Rosito last night to check out the PWG show, and we were talking about that for a good second, about how I really wish that I could go there, because PWG seems to be the closest thing of like going to the ECW arena in its heyday, and you know, being able to say that you were there, because it seems like the most fun environment to watch wrestling in these days. And right when I said that, Daniels and Kaz told me that I should have gone, for the reason of, you know, even though we had the Angle Hall of Fame last night, we would have been able to make it there, no problem. He said the shows there never start on time. It doesn't matter what time the ticket says. It's always going to start an hour and a half later. It's just the way they is. And then they started to sort of like, you know, in their jokey manner, make jokes about how having to work for free. It's about the fans, all sorts of shit like that. Talked to Daniels about a show for Fighting Spirit Pro that got canceled. I was going to head out to it, not mainly because Daniels was there wrestling Brian Cage, but because my good friend, Man on Fire 310, Kevin, was going to be wrestling on the show, and I wanted to make sure I was able to see this guy wrestle and support him, film one of his matches, be able to put it on YouTube for him, and let people know how he's doing now that he's not making videos anymore. Of course, you're still able to tweet the guy, Kevin Man on Fire, one of the coolest dudes there is out there. He just said that honestly, Daniel said that he got a mixed side of the story. He called or he got a text from the guy. The guy said that the building said that they couldn't rent it out for the night, and that they weren't able to do it. For some reason, Daniel said he called the building to confirm, to make sure that he wasn't supposed to be there, because this was the day of the event. He didn't want to be the guy who, you know, got bad information and no-showed. The guy that answered the phone that was from the building said that the guy that was running the show didn't even try to call and book the show for the building until the day before. So it was kind of like he was promoting a show that he didn't even have a building for, and then once he tried to get the building, he wasn't able to do it. So that was really weird, and it sucked that I wasn't able to go out there and see him. But if it wasn't for me looking at Facebook for some reason while I was on some treadmill before I went out there, I would have drove out to the middle of nowhere, California, for no apparent reason, which, yeah, definitely would have sucked. But Mario had a good conversation with TJ Perkins about shoes. They're both shoe guys, and they were talking about a whole bunch of shit that I really didn't understand about colors of different shoes and shoe names and the things that go in your shoes that you step on, and I don't know. I just go up to the rack, I buy the probably the cheapest pair of shoes that I can find that I like, and walk out of there. But I guess they buy these nice Nikes and shit like that, and I don't know. I've always sort of looked at shoes like that, like it just costs too much money, and I've never even owned a pair of Jordans in my whole life. If I had to air a pair had to buy a pair of Jordans, there's one pair that I always liked when I was a kid. It was the ones that he wore in the Olympics in I think it was 92, when they went to Barcelona. No, 92, because 96, and then the Olympics are 4 years. Yeah, so the ones in 92, they're red, white, and blue. I think they were the Jordan 9s, but I'm not 100% sure. But I always liked those as a kid for some reason. But there's no way in the world I'd pay, you know, 150, $200 for a pair of shoes. That's just fucking retarded. Basically, there was a point when you could see that the TNA people were telling the people to leave, and there were some of the wrestlers that were asking to leave, but they were saying that they hadn't been there long enough. They had to spend a certain amount of time there. But we actually stayed inside the breakfast. We knew that that was probably the only food that we were going to get, and they kept on refilling it. It was there was eggs, there was bacon, there was toast and bagels. There was these really good potatoes that were in there. I ate, honestly, like a pound of bacon while I was in there. I just, you know, kept eating pieces because I didn't know what kind of food we were going to get, if we were going to get any food on the way to the show, or if we were going to get any food after the show. And I didn't want to be, you know, that guy. We basically just went back to our room, put our stuff down, since we knew this was the point when all the wrestlers were going to be leaving. There was going to be nobody in the hotel. We just went down to the bar and just kicked it with some fans until about 1:30. We watched the Jets and Patriots game. We watched the kickoff of the 49er and Titans game. we just sort of hung out with the group of fans that we had met, that had all bought the package. There was the people that I talked about. There was Gary and Stephen with the P. The guy from Holland was with us. The guy from Idaho. I forgot the girl's name, but she was there too. There was another girl that was from I think she was from England or something like that. But we ended up going over, and we got on the trolley. The trolley ended up being pretty cool. The trolley was $2.50 each way, so $5, and we wouldn't have to get a cab or anything like that. We just rode that sucker over. For some reason, I got lucky. The trolley that we were on was going out of service at Qualcomm Stadium, so we were able to get off at Qualcomm Stadium where the Chargers play, look around for a few minutes, take a few pictures. I always really like seeing other stadiums, even if we're not going into them. It's just cool to see the place where the Chargers play. I got to talk to a lot of people. I think because Comic-Con is so popular, some people like to think that maybe Qualcomm Stadium could host a WrestleMania. They got nice weather year round, so it'd be a place that you wouldn't have to be scared that if it was gonna rain or be cold. It seems like if you lived in San Diego, you could wear shorts 365 times a year. So it would be cool to put that in my mind. What's going on. It seemed like they had tons of parking. If you stayed anywhere on that light rail deal, it'd be awesome to just ride that into WrestleMania and ride it out. Maybe if it was a big event like that, and there was tons of people pouring out of there, I wish that the train was a little bit longer to fit more people into. That'd be a little bit scary if you're leaving WrestleMania or a Charger game. But waited there for a few minutes, and the next train came along, and that one took us actually to the stadium. When we got off at the stadium, we were all basically we actually weren't off on the stadium. We got off at the campus. When we got off at the campus, basically nobody knew where the fuck to go because you're in the middle of a college on the train station. And we basically just had to sort of walk. Everybody just sort of walked in a straight line. We all walked together and just hoped that we got to the right spot. We walked towards what we thought was the biggest building that was there, and ended up just being the right spot. So we sort of hung out, we camped out. What you do when you go to the shows early, you just talk to wrestling fans. Everybody's there for wrestling, so everybody's got an opinion on something, so you just sort of shoot the time by. Once it was time for the show to get started, then they were letting people in. They didn't let any signs in. Basically, if you were watching the show, you didn't see any signs in the crowd. That was because the few amount of signs that did get in were snuck in. You had to fold them up as small as you can go, stuff them into your pants, and put your shirt over them, because they weren't frisking you down or rolling you with wands. All they wanted to do was look in your bag and get you in there. There was a strict no backpacks policy, only purses for the ladies, and only infant bags if you had a baby for diaper changing and things like that. But if you did have a two-strap backpack, you were screwed. You either had to go all the way back to your hotel and put it away, or you had to go back to your car. That's just the way it is these days. I think everybody knows that that's the way it's going to be. Once we went into the show, fans poured in there. It was a really deep bowl sort of setting for a stadium or arena, whatever you want to call it. The guy said that there was 100 stairs down, but it was a weird walk down to the floor. The stairs were really, really steep, and if you did fall, it was a fall that you didn't want to take. It looked like it was going to hurt because you weren't going to stop until you got all the way down to the bottom. We went down there, we took some pictures. I made a review on the show. I really, really liked it. Somewhere around the third match on the card, I believe it was after the tag match, they came over, they asked me to take the Hogan suit off. I didn't really like it that they were telling me what to do, but I didn't really want to get tossed out at the same point. But also, down there, it gets really, really hot under the lights. I think the wrestlers talk about that a lot, but even if you're a fan in the front row, wearing a few extra pounds of padding on a Hogan muscle suit, it sucks. When I took the Hogan muscle suit off, there was a girl that was behind me. She didn't really like me wearing it, so she said, "Thank God." She was yelling at me all night long. I don't know. when you go to a wrestling show, you're not going to sit down. This ain't church. And every time I got up, yeah, I heard this chick sigh and just like all sorts of shit. But it was like, I don't know. I went there to have fun, and I was going to have fun. I wasn't going to let that bitch ruin my time. But I think that I was ruining hers. But I don't know. I had a front row seat. I was going to enjoy my front row seat. And I wasn't holding up any signs or anything like that. All I did was really just jump up and interact with what was going on. So, go fuck yourself. I saw Miguel for a hot minute. I saw Molly in there. I met a whole other bunch of people. A lot of people liked it when we were, starting. The show is starting. They liked the muscle suit. I took pictures with a whole bunch of people, and everything like that. Everybody really, really liked it. Everybody was really, really fun. It was a fun atmosphere before the show. Everybody really thought that we were going to see something special, and I thought it was a really, really good show. After the show, we all filed out of there. I didn't see any merch stands. People said that they were selling stuff, but they were pretty well camouflaged somewhere along the way. They weren't anywhere I was at. We walked out of the show. We walked with these guys from Tijuana, and we were talking to them for a good while, and that was a lot of fun. Somewhere along the way, we walked past where we were supposed to go. When we were turned around to ask somebody for help, there was one guy and 3 girls. And I turned around to ask somebody for help, and the guy gave me some attitude. And it was the closest I came to getting in a fight in a long time. I was really pissed off that this guy acted like he was too good to help me out. I don't really want to go into the story that much, but it was almost a bad situation for somebody. That's all I gotta say. We went back to as we got off the trolley, we went back to the hotel. We hit up a little fish restaurant. I got a fish burrito. They were about to close. I felt sort of bad. And so like as they were getting all our food ready for us to take off the door, I was gonna give them a $5 tip to say thanks. So I pulled it out of my wallet and I handed it in my hand, and I didn't want to be that guy. I just sort of threw it at her when she wasn't paying attention because she was counting her drawer and getting her books ready. So I said something to him about thank you very much for staying open a couple extra minutes for it. I know we ran in right at closing, but we were really hungry and we really appreciated it. And that was the point where I thought she was going to lift her head up and say thank you very much, or any time or any kind of response. But she just sort of looked at me, rolled her eyes at me, and went back to doing what she's doing. So I opened my wallet, put my 5 back in there, closed it up, and said thank you very much. The burrito was pretty good. It was a good place. I honestly would go back there again. It was fun atmosphere. I saw some video in there. It seemed like they had a whole bunch of sort of skateboarding and surfing stickers and posters and pictures up around the place. So if I remember the name, I would give them a plug. But hope they know now that they lost out on $5. We went back into the hotel. The hotel was a really fun atmosphere after the show. It was really worth making sure that we stayed at that hotel just to see all that stuff. The closest thing I can say it was like when you watch the Rock vs. Cena documentary and you see Rock and Cena in the back, or you watch the last Triple H documentary that just came out and you see when Triple H and Taker was over and they came in the back and Vince McMahon was back there. Everybody that was on the show, excluding just a very everybody that was on the show, excluding a few amount of people, was in the bars. We walked in. AJ Styles was doing an interview with Sports Illustrated, is who everybody said it was with. He was sitting in the lobby talking with the lady. Bully Ray was in the bar. Dixie Carter came into the bar. Austin Aries was in there. Hernandez was in there. Garrett Bischoff. Nux. Everybody was in there. Everybody was very, very easy to get to. Everybody was very, very easy to talk to. I got the very first picture with AJ Styles. After he was done with his interview, I sort of camped out in a spot that I was close to him, but not too close, or I would be bugging him. But I just wanted to make sure that I got a picture with the champ. Right after it done, I had taken, I think I had 2 or 3 pictures with the same guy. And it wasn't like the girls. Like you wanted to get a picture with the girls every time you saw them because they were wearing something different. But I don't know. Just like the first time you met him, he wasn't the champ, and now he is. And I don't know. As he was done with that interview, he helped out all the fans that were in the lobby waiting on him, and he went into the bar. And as he went into the bar, Bully Ray had a shot ready for him. and they did a shot together, and they talked about their the match, and they congratulated each other. The people made fun of him for not being a drinker. Chris Sabin yelled at, "Now you got him wasted," and then some other guys yelled lightweight, and stuff like that. But it was just really, really cool to see all the wrestlers come up and congratulate him. Chavo came over out of the way um, to say good match and thank you very much. Being the guy that's on top of the company and seeing where they can go from here. I think that the last thing they did with Bully Ray, I liked the storyline as it progressed, but I think as a whole, for some reason, wrestling fans grew very tired of aces and eights, and it's time for them to move off into a new direction. If it's going to be copying the CM Punk thing, Angle's going to be Angle. Fuck me. AJ's going to be the guy on top and the guy to hold the whole company up, and that's a lot of that's a lot to support, but I think AJ's the guy that could do it. He's been the guy for this company for so long. That's been the major fan base guy. Um, they've sort of treated other guys like Christian and Angle and other guys like they were bigger, better stars. So it's finally time for AJ to get his time. And I think one of the bigger matches that they could really do, even if they don't turn him heel, is AJ versus Samoa Joe. Sort of to give back to the wrestling fans that have been with TNA for so long, and sort of say that they're going back to their roots and they're going to support these guys that got them to the place that they're there. They're tired of bringing in the Booker T's and the Hulk Hogan's and the guys like that, because that wasn't what got them to the dance. It helped them, but it wasn't the guys that were in there working all the shows, working all the TVs, and making sure that this company got over. And I don't know. I think that would really draw money. I don't know. We sat down in the bar honestly till about 2. We were both falling asleep at this point, standing up. But we had seen everything there was to see. We had talked to Bully. We talked to James Storm. And honestly, everybody we were meeting that night, we were just telling how much fun we had. We both felt like this is one of the funnest trips that we'd ever been on. We both felt like we both got our money's worth on everything. I highly would say go out of your way, make sure you get the VIP if the TNA pay-per-view is coming to your town. I don't know what they do for the TVs, but for the pay-per-views, they make it a whole weekend experience. You're definitely going to get your money's worth, whether if you buy the silver, the gold, or the platinum one. They're really honestly going to take care of you. The only difference that's going to be with the 3 different tiers is just where your seat's going to be, much like the WB one. You're going to get the same hotel, you're going to get the same breakfast, you're going to get the same whatever it's called, walk-in uh, reception. It was very, very cool. I hope that if I get anything out of making these videos, I always say that I hope that somebody will go on a WrestleMania trip, somebody will go on a SummerSlam trip. I've been highly just banging my drum to make sure you go to SummerSlam in LA. That there's so much stuff for you to do. It's not just wrestling. It's a whole, could be a whole family experience. But very, very cool. I hope that somebody out there will see these videos. Some people have commented in the comment box that they wish they could go, but there's only going to be 4 pay-per-views again a year. There's going to be Bound for Glory. There's going to be Lockdown, Slammiversary, and whatever the 4th one is. And I know they do the packages for all of them. I've never really heard anything bad about them. I know when they did the fan experience and it was inside Six Flags, it didn't go that well, but that was a few years ago. I think that was 2009 or 2010. So maybe they won't do it like that again. But honestly, very, very cool, very good weekend. If I was anybody in that company, I honestly would be very proud that one of the things they do is make sure that they take care of their fans. Nobody that bought that package went home unhappy. Everybody went home saying that it was probably the best bang for their buck. If you buy the Vince experience when you go to WrestleMania, they put you over here and they put the wrestlers way over here, and they have 100 security guards in the middle, making sure that you guys don't interact unless it's fan access, and you have to pay so much more to make sure you meet the big top names. When we got the drink at the bar with all these guys, and basically by the time this weekend was over, we were tired of meeting guys because we had spent so much time with people. But from the top to the bottom, everybody was a class act, and they really, really took care of us. Basically, the next morning, we had to wake up early. We woke up at 4:15. We were in the lobby at 4:30. We had already packed all our stuff. Taz checked out and he headed off to the airport when we were down there. So he was the last guy that we saw. Went to the airport, really didn't have anything going on. Just took off, flew off, came home. When I got home, I took a little nap on the couch, took the kids to John's Incredible Pizza. That was a fun time. Came home and fell asleep at 7:30, 30 minutes before Raw came on, because I didn't even know that it was Monday. I honestly didn't even know that Raw was on until the next day on my lunch, around 3 o'clock the next day when I was listening to The Observer and they started talking about the Raw report. And that was when I sort of figured out it was Monday. So I sort of lost my shit, I guess. But this is Stevie Breech. If you have any more questions about what happened on my fan experience, just put them in the comments. I'll make sure that I can read them over and go from here. Make sure you check out on Thursday. Impact is doing a rematch, Bully Ray versus AJ Styles. I made a video on it the other day sharing all my thoughts on it. Basically, I'm not sure that they're going to do a match, much like they did the Full Metal Mayhem match with Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray, where Bully Ray just sort of beat him, and they moved on from that promotion, or from that the storyline. I honestly think that it's going to be some sort of a big angle where if maybe AJ's going to run away. I wouldn't honestly do AJ running away, because that sort of makes him look like a bitch who doesn't want to fight Bully. But something big's going to happen with Dixie Carter, who doesn't want him around anymore. And it's going to be a real fun time. And we're going to have to see where we go from there. But for me, signing off, saying goodbye one more time. Make sure you buy that VIP access thing with Impact. It's worth the money. Peace out.